Hello and welcome back to our class of economics. We have already covered the few topics of this chapter 2nd 5-year plan in India, and we are on the last topic of this chapter, that is failures of planning in India. So now we are going to see the observation, or how we can say that there is failure of planning in India. So the first point is abject poverty. So when the planning was initiated, the central idea of the plan was for the elevation of poverty, but though it was taken initiative, but there still 21.9% of the population is below the poverty line, and we can see 50% of those who are absolute poor in the world lives in India only. Now we can say that the 21.9% of the population, those who are poor in our country, that contributes 50% of the world's poor people in our country, that belong to our country only. So now we talk about the high rate of inflation, that is second point. So we can say that though the planning was there, but it failed to tackle the problem of inflationary spiral in our country, and because of high rate of inflation during the first 5-year plan, real income of the people tended to erode, and it was the first 5-year plan was only exception where the price was kept slide down, and rest of the plan from 12 second plan, we can say, the price level kept on rising. Now we talk about the third point, that is unemployment crisis. While more and more opportunities of employment have been generated, challenge of unemployment was never ended, or we can say it was never subsided. At the end of first 5-year plan, the 53 lakh person were unemployed at that time, and by the end of 11th plan the number rose to 4 crore, and in March 2016 the number rose to 4.3 crore, and this emerged to be a serious cause of social unrest threatening the process of growth. So if the number of the people increases in the country of unemployed, it can be a serious problem where in the threatening the growth process, because the country would be focusing on that population, and the country will be trying to manage that population. Okay, so now we talk about the fourth point, inadequate infrastructure. Now the development of infrastructure, that is including power, roads, dams, bridges, schools, colleges and hospitals, continues to be inadequate despite of 67 years of planning. See, now after the 67 years of planning also, the development of these things were never adequate, or we can say it was never proper. So it's still needed too much of development in these areas. So actual growth has failed to match the target of the growth. So particularly if this infrastructure is not there, then it will fail to achieve the target of growth, and shortage of power has been the serious drawback, we can say, in the process of growth and development. Now we talk about the fifth point, that is skewed distribution. Now economic and social equality was considered as the principal goal of planning. See, so the planning also initiated for the social welfare and social equality also, but this has been principal failure of the planning in India. Widening the economic and social inequality has compelled the government to offer the reservations in job to the economically and socially weaker section of society. Now see this, because of that social disturbance, government what did, they planned out with the reservation. Why? Because they are considered to be economically and socially weaker section of the society, so these reservations have been given to them. Now we can say the strategy of planning that failed because of you can say due to the inefficient administration, dishonesty and vested interest, red tapeism, etc. These all things were there to fail the strategy of planning till 1991. So the government took new step, or you can say the government took U-turn, and it formed the policy of control and regulation to policy of the market driven growth process, and NEP was introduced, that is new economic policy was introduced that redefined the whole framework of policies and program for the growth and development, and that we will study in 6th chapter. Till then, bye.